Hey guys, I need to get back into the whole video making thing, but kind of burned out with what I'm usually doing, so I try something a little bit different. Another hobby that I've rarely talked about on my channel. So the other day, week rather, I was shooting my rifle and one of these cases extracted with a very badly split neck. Unfortunately, I don't have the case to show you, which hindsight 2020, I should have kept it. But I'm going to disassemble some of these and find out what in the world is going on with these, because some of these rounds seem to be hotter than others. So what I'm shooting here is actually Red Army Standard, but the head stamp is all tool ammo. So this shouldn't be any different than that red and black box tool ammo box of imported Russian steel case. And what I'm going to do that with is with this kinetic hammer. And this will kind of determine whether or not if I should invest in any other tooling to start disassembling the other 2,000 rounds of this stuff I've got sitting around in the closet. Ooh. You guys hear that thunder? So what prompted me to do this, I was reading online about something they called Mexican matching ammunition, where they would pull factory rounds and replace the projectiles with something of higher quality. So I'm wondering if I could instead remeasure the powder and keep the original projectiles of these factory ammunition and see if that improves any sort of accuracy, pressure, that whole thing. What I'm using to beat this against. If anyone's taken a machining class, I think you'd know what this is. Wow, okay. That's different. This thing has been factory crimped so hard, come on, I'm still fighting focus, that you can see where the round's kind of deformed from where the crimp was. And yet it was very easy to get this thing to pull. That's interesting. So that kind of calls into question the consistency of the neck tension on these rounds. Okay, so that's 47.9. This is some sort of stick powder. No idea what's in it. Or no idea what kind of powder it is, but that's what that looks like. Just dump it in there for the time being. Pull a few more of these and get a running average, I guess. Okay, that one took a few more hits. So, very definitely a neck tension thing. Whoa. Okay. That's not at all concerning. The first round we pulled was 47.9. I'm getting 48.4. Let's see if we got anything stuck with this. Okay, so 48.4, 48.5. That is a 0.6 grain, 0.4 to 0.6 grain difference on charge weights. Huh. No, it's not my scale. 48.4. Let's try another one. $47.9. I'm gonna go ahead and pull all of these and then get a running average on what 20 rounds looks like, and then we'll see where we're gonna reload these to. Alright, so to try and remedy what could possibly be a neck tension issue on these cases, I went on ahead, adjusted out my full sizing die to only neck size, and then removed my decapping pin, because these are Berdan primed cases. That, and if I tried to size the insides of these cases at the same time, I'm afraid that this might put a lot of undue stress on these dies. And I can't exactly lubricate these with anything wet because I can't exactly clean them off. And lubricated cases inside a gun usually increases a lot of bolt thrust, so I'm not gonna try and do any sort of like exterior case lube and try to fully resize this or anything. So instead I got some, oops, okay, well I lost the cap there. Some of this Imperial dry neck lube. So I'm gonna try that. Hopefully this doesn't fall into like the primer or something like that and contaminate it. Yep, definitely feel that going in. So we grab a cloth or something to clean off the excess. Then I've got a Q-tip to try and clean out some of the insides, just so when I go and seat the bullet I don't have any of this graphite powder going anywhere. Alright. Yeah. Well, that definitely sits out a little bit further. So this die is actually a 308 internal diameter instead of a 310, despite it being a 762 by 54R die. I guess that's just something the US does. But it serves our purpose well enough, so I'm going to go ahead and size the rest of these guys, and then we'll get to charging and seating, and we'll see what happens. Of all 20 cases, the average that this thing came out to be was about 48.1 grains. So we're going to load each of these back up to about 48.1 and take it out to the range and shoot it, see what happens. That's about 21.1. 41.2, and then like another quarter spoon, something like that. I've got a powder trickler, but I don't want to throw this into a powder trickler just because, no, that went way over. Just because of how long these this powder is. It's an extruded powder, so that's just going to get hung up in it. And then once I get into a rhythm, I can usually throw these pretty close, and then this being a stick powder, it's going to be pretty easy to just to pick up a few granules just to get that 0.1 grain. Yep, 48.1, and yeah, there we go. Now we just do that 19 more times. So this die I've already got preset from reloading 762 for my Mosin, so no need to double check and mess with that anymore. Okay, let's see. So after resizing that, there is still, come on, focus, focus. Ah, okay, hang on. Nope, there we go. Man, 13 years of doing YouTube, I'm still fighting the autofocus. Can you believe that? Yeah, you can see some copper being shaved off from the original factory crimp. There seems to be like an 8-pedal crimp that they used to crimp the original factory rounds. And just sizing the outside, it's definitely tighter. You know, I can feel some resistance with that thing being pushed in, but it is shaving some copper. So I wonder if this is going to affect it any. Yep, still shaving some copper. Okay. Well, at least it's even all the way around from the looks of it, so yay? I don't know. We'll find out when we shoot it. I don't want to go and ram this thing down so quickly, because if I get this thing off center, I'm just going to end up destroying something. So, work slowly. You know what I'm going to do is, I'm going to finish this up, I'm going to pull 20 more, and then I'm going to, oh, there that goes. Then I'm going to pull 20 more of these, and try this without the resize, and see how that goes. See if there's any difference. And for those of you who are not aware, this is a single stage rock chucker press that my dad got in the mid-90s. You get so much mechanical leverage with this thing. You can actually, put several hundred pounds of force on it with, nothing but 2 fingers. To demonstrate. I realized I was entirely off camera. These bullets are not boat-tailed. They're kind of flat, but they're concaved on the end because the lead is actually exposed. So they don't exactly self-center in these cartridges either, so hence the reason for going slow. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of these things loaded up and head to the range. Alright, so first 5 rounds is gonna be the factory loaded stuff. And that's gonna go on the upper left target. So interestingly, it looks like the factory stuff shot better. Huh. Try a few more of these, sanity check myself. It helps if I drop the bolt. Okay. Guess we'll wait some more. There's a real oddity. I've dialed this scope up for 200 yards, and yet it's still shooting low. That was the first one, dialed at 100. 200. Huh. What's going on? In case you're wondering, that's what that target looks like down there. Little 1-inch dots on it. is almost 3 o'clock. That means it has taken me almost 3 hours to put 35 rounds, 45 rounds downrange, waiting for the barrel to cool and whatnot. Gives you an idea how long this stuff takes to test. Let's go downrange and have a look at the target. Alright, so I figured it would be easier just to take a picture of the target and then do this all digitally versus chopping this target up and then trying to present this thing one at a time on camera. So, looking at this, I would say that the methodology used to test this, it's pretty clean cut what happened. So everything on the left here, left column 1, 2, and 3, those are all factory rounds. Unmolested, straight out of the box, and sent downrange. This is the first shot of the group. This came out to about 1 7/8. Next shot came out, about 2.5, 2 5/8. Third group, not sure what happened with this guy over here, but the rest of this stuff falls into, again, 2 1/8. I have an idea what this may have been. This is probably one of those overcharged rounds because I did have a guest shooter show up on the range after second string of fire, and I let him on the gun, and this is his group right here. He also had a main group that's about 3.5 inches and one random flyer that went all the way up here. Kind of matches what I have over here. 4 and 1 and one random flyer in upper right hand direction. So that is possibly ammunition related. Second group here, this is the crimped but not neck resized. I did have one round that didn't want a chamber for some oddball reason, and this probably explains this 5-inch group here. To sanity check, I reshot that group, and that came out 2 7/8, so a little under 3 inches there. Next group, same thing, crimped, no neck sizing, 2 inches. And sanity check, 2.5. So those 3 groups, all neck sized, all crimped but not neck sized. So that shot under 3 inches. Now, this is the most telling group. These were the ones that were neck resized but not crimped. Now, all 3 of these groups, 4 groups actually, all shot about 3 inches. 3 3/4, 3.5, 3 1/4, 3. So that tells me one thing. This does not like being neck size down to 308 and a bullet shoved into its case and expected to shoot very well. So looking at this target right here, this leaves me with 3 other things to try. Number 1 would be to neck size and crimp and see what happens. The other would be to start varying the charges and basically shoot essentially load develop using factory components, if that makes any sense at all. And the third would be to pull some rounds. I've got some Privy sitting back on the shelf, some 150 grain soft points. Pull a couple of those and run that through the gun and see if it's the projectile that's given us this variation and not differing powder weights. So that's what I'm thinking for part 2. And you know what? I just thought of something witty. Maybe I should start calling this Moscow match.